Welcome to episode 11. We have made it so far. Let's load the game up. 1970. Here we go. We are in the Portland territory, and you saw last time we had the big end of the month show. And we're forward now. We are on May the 1st. So we have some things that have happened. We have some changes to make, and I think the first thing we are going to go is look at our storylines because our TV show is tomorrow night. We want to start off a new story. And I'm thinking we want to get rid of. We want to end the Dutch. It seems to be racist storyline. Even though it's the hottest right now, I just can't see. It's going to be a short-term feud. It's not going to be one of these all-year long feuds. So we will click simply to end storyline. Why not? End storyline. There we go. And we'll have to find a new storyline for Dutch Savage. And we'll see what we do with Antonio Inoki. I've been thinking about this past day or so. He is the champion. He has the best matches on the card. But do we need to have him in a storyline? Is the question. Storylines help move things along and they give extra heat to workers and build interest. But if you already have the best wrestler who has the title, can't we just have a sort of like a monster of the week, if we can use a TV term, kind of setup there, where a new heel comes in every couple of weeks, maybe on TV, and then he defeats them. We'll see. I've got some ideas there. But Portland Wrestling tomorrow night, and we were going to look for, because we know what bombed last time. Let's see. If we look at the show history, I kind of want to look at this again. This 21 rating here. Roddy Piper, double count out with Greg Valentine. And I don't want that to happen again. So I thought, who could we have as the tag team partners for Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine? And I'm thinking none other than Dutch Savage. He's popular in this area. His skills, I mean, he's got really good skills here. He's just coming into his prime, I'd say, Dutch Savage here. I think he would be the perfect guy to have in a tag team with a cocky up-and-comer known as Greg Valentine. Let's make it happen. Greg Valentine, Dutch Savage. So he's unimportant. He is well known, and that's going to, lift. Let's say that the water makes all boats rise. Hopefully, we're going to get some sort of rub there from Savage to Valentine. What could the tag team name be? Let's see. The Savage Valentine sounds actually quite fun. Dutch Valentine. Now, what could their tag team name be? We'll just have, Savage Valentines. Savage Valentine or Savage and Valentine. We'll think of something. If you have anything you want to write in the comments there, what could their finisher be? What could an interesting tag team name be? But Savage Valentine so far, or Savage and Valentine. We've got the clean-shaven but evil heel, the roughneck Dutch Savage. We'll put them as a tag team there. And as such, we will add in on the storyline, because we can add to a storyline. The young stars about to break out, and we've got, should maybe change that one as well. But we've got these there. It's very cold. How can we add some heat? We can add a worker. We're adding Dutch Savage, and we will align him with Greg Valentine. And adds a major role. So this is going to be the next thing Dutch Savage does. And that's why I ended the feud with him and Inoki beforehand. Because in TEW IX, you can add him as maybe a minor role and things like that. But if you're going to add someone as a major role, they've got to be done with the feud that they're already a part of. So one major role per person per feud. Well, that puts Roddy Piper on his own. Who could we add in here? Let's have a look. We could add in a member. And I was looking who got the best rating on the last show. And I've got to say it was Ray Stevens. What he did there in the tag match with Lou Thez, and they got that 74 rating. It's like one of the best ratings we've ever got. You can check that in a second, actually. Attributes. Has he got tag team worker here? He is not. But he's got very creative, groundswell of support, which is always good. He could be the right kind of person to put with Roddy Piper. So Let's add Ray Stevens and Roddy Piper. And I want to call them Gates of Dawn. The Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. I'm not sure why that came into my mind. And Iron Maiden as the finisher. Pipers at the Gates of Dawn are calling you his way. I think that's where I got it from. No finisher was found for this team. That's okay. What was that one that we just saw there? Add new team. Team Boom. 50th State, which is the one out in Hawaii. Gene Kaniski and Torquemada are apparently a tag team working there. I think this has been filled in by the AI because I can't imagine anybody in 1970 being called Team Boom, ironically or unironically. But we can add in here on the feud section, or the storyline section. It used to be called the feud section. Any of you here who used to play EWR 4 back in the early 2000s? It was called feuds, not storylines. Old habits die hard. And as well, I'm going to alter the storyline. I don't like the name Young Stars Feud, partly because we've already got one called Young Stars. It's a tag team with veterans. We'll keep the details of the description the same. But we're going to add in to the storyline Ray Stevens, old school face, cocky, and we'll add him as alignment with Roddy Piper, add as a major role. And I'm thinking we do something to start with this feud or keep this feud going, or we want to get up from very cold. We want to heat this one up on the start of the next TV show, which is tomorrow night. What else do we have to do? The house cleaning, let's say. Yeah, that's something we looked at on the show as well. We had a problem there when we booked the women's match. The audience, the crowd for this product, click on product, we're not liking the women's match at all. So we can find it when you go into product, you can find a lot of interesting information, and it also is how to book your shows. What kind of matches will get penalized here? There's quite a lot of things. They really like the traditional style of wrestling and how your matches and everything should be rated. And it could be changing your product here. It could change things a lot. Golden age of pro wrestling. But what we would like to do is put in so men only with small women's division. And that won't change anything here on what we can and can't do or how angles and things will be changed, but it will allow us to be able to have a women's division if we'd want to. Let's have a look here. Change product base. Reset competes in. A few things here, because I wasn't, as I said, I've mentioned before in this series, I played a lot of TEW 2020. I had that game down. I knew all the different parts, how to do things. Played mods from before. Played in the C-verse, the fictional verse, quite a lot. But the extra things which are added to TEW 9, I haven't explored. I'm exploring it with everybody here watching. Let's have a look. So we'll save this one, but I want to go back into product here so we don't forget that. Change product base. Okay, and this is so you can do let's have a look. You can do what the product is for the brand here. Golden Age. What's that based on? So you can change to, and there is about 70 different things here. And I love to go through all of these ones and just read them. What could we change to next? Like ruthless aggression. We're thinking of that 2004 to 2006 era of WWE. It's very closely related to the attitude entertainment. This is the sports entertainment pushed to the extreme. There's generally plenty of controversial and bloody content, so it's aimed at late teens and adults, but there's still the big characters and storylines that characterize classic American wrestling. But I do like going through the different options here, and I think it's something that is added to TEW 9, which is really a kind of a big lift to the game, and it makes you want to think about how to book promotions in different ways. Because I've got to say, earlier in the TEW life cycle and earlier games, you tend to start booking kind of in the same way. Of course, there was different aspects which you could change with sliders, but people have, I mean, we all as wrestling fans know what we like as wrestling and what we perceive wrestling to be, and you can kind of always like lean in that direction. But in this iteration of the game, TEW9, I say you take Punk Rock Lucha, and of course there's a lot of things to choose from, but you take this one. This product takes the usual trappings of Lucha Libre, but discards the family-friendly nature for an anti-establishment punk rock vibe. So that gives it a whole different way of thinking about it, and it will give you essentially your rules here. So you want to start the game, punk rock lucha. This is what's being expected, and you have like a lot of ideas here. Like you could have like a Clash and Sex Pistols style stable here, who's ruling the roost against people who kind of like goth wrestlers with makeup on, and then other people in masks, all coming out heavy metal music. It conjures up a whole different idea of what wrestling can be. So I think that's a really good aspect to this game, but also it brings a big kind of tactical aspect, especially if you're going to plan to do a long term game. You've got to think, okay, this is my product now. What things are popular in the world, and you can look at that on the world screen here. What kind of wrestling is popular? See in America, in the Great Lakes, and you can see what you kind of want to, how you want to work the game, how you want to expand and change depending on what's popular in certain places. Okay, let's see what's going on in this in between time. We're going to start. It's a new month, and we've got our first TV show. We're going to think about a new feud. We're going to see what we can do with Antonio Inoki as well, and how often he's going to be available. That's also going to be a question. How much is he going to be available to use for this month coming up? And also, should we? I think we'll have one more month now with like the main show called the end of the month show. But I want to start having different names here. Bo Ramos, fully fit. Good. And here we go. Contract negotiations with Fritz von Erich. Now that's interesting. Complete all worker signings. So we go into our roster screen and we will look there, and lo and behold, Fritz von Erich. He's not got a perception rating. He's in the heel division, the men's division. Brute foreigner gimmick. And if you look at his popularity compared to who's our next biggest star, let's say Tony Bourne there, he eclipses Tony Bourne. If we say Antonio Inoki, again, he's quite big in the Northwest Territory, but not over the entire United States. Fritz von Erich, I'd say 40 years old, is going to be maybe our biggest star. So who should we start him with a feud with? We just finished up Antonio Inoki. Here we go. So we've got top title feud. What could be the story here? Fritz von Erich versus Antonio Inoki. So Fritz von Erich is looking to gather up gold from the entire US of A before he finally retires, to prove himself superior to the other athletes in the territories. The Northwest is where his sights are set, and the popular technical champion, trouble spelling here, Antonio Inoki. Okay, there we go. And it's the start of the month here now. We've got our show Portland Wrestling tonight, which we're going to book. Let's see if and where our end of the month show is. It's going to be every month, last Wednesday of the month. You can see already now who is going to be available and who is not. End of the month show. As it stands currently, it's the same people as last time were not available. Okay, that's not that unusual. People can change as well how their setups are, but everything is looking good for a Antonio Inoki versus Fritz von Erich main event on that show. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with that on the next episode. Start the new TV, the start of a new month. We've got a new top heel in Fritz von Erich. And let's see how it goes in the TV. And see you all next time for episode 12.